Nintendo, we know. You don't need to hide it anymore. You don't need to hide it anymore. We all know what you are doing. Between the scant release lineup after Pikmin 4 and all the rumors swirling about of a new console in development, we know. Please just come out and say it. Metroid Prime 4 is coming, and it will be released on whatever this new console will be. Honestly, we don't need to look very far to see the evidence for not only Prime 4, but also the successor to the Switch. We are approaching 4 years since they announced that they are restarting development for Metroid Prime 4. I don't know about you, but that's a healthy amount of time to develop a game for a AAA developer. And I know the story. Nintendo and Retro Studios weren't pleased with how the game was coming along, so they scrapped the whole thing and restarted development using the old team behind the original Prime trilogy. But now I think there might be another reason. What if they were originally intending this to be released on the Switch, but between the way development was coming along, paired with the realization that this game may be released at the very end of the Switch's life cycle, they opted to instead start optimizing it for this new Nintendo console. After all, this is shaping up to be a huge game. I mean, they just shadow dropped Metroid Prime Remastered for seemingly no reason at all. And it is a gorgeous game. They put a lot of love into this. And apparently it was all done with a small team, with some help from the outside. And if Retro's past is any indication, this new game is going to be much more than what we got in the past. Just take a look at the Donkey Kong Country Returns series. It wasn't just any old platformer game. Every level and every detail was meticulously crafted to enhance the experience. It single-handedly pushed platformer games into a new generation to the point that the new Super Mario Bros. Series had to take a long hiatus to figure out what exactly to do. And now we have stories that some of the people that Retro onboarded for the development of this new Metroid game has worked on pretty massive properties, such as God of War, Call of Duty, and Tomb Raider, just to name a few. Those are all huge games. Not to mention, there are rumors that this game is actually finished, and Nintendo is sitting on it. So why would they wait? Why not just release it? I think that's because the scope of this game is so massive, it would be the perfect launch title for this new console. Perhaps they could do a simultaneous release like they did with Twilight Princess. That game was released simultaneously on both the GameCube and the Wii, so that could be a possibility. Or perhaps it is so big that it would be physically impossible to run it on the Switch, hence why they are sitting on it. Either way, this game would make for a perfect launch title. That and a new Mario game, that would just be perfect. And with Tears of the Kingdom set to release soon, plus the recent release of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, and even Pikmin 4's upcoming release, there isn't any other big franchises Nintendo can use in this inevitable release of this new console. And that's exactly why I think that Prime 4 and Mario, and potentially even a new Yoshi game might be lining up as launch titles. I mean, the stars are aligning. The release schedule for the rest of 2023 looks lackluster, with Nintendo relying on new Zelda, Pikmin, and DLC to pad out the rest of the new year. Added to the fact that Nintendo hasn't said a peep on a new Mario game, save but some cryptic remarks by Shigeru Miyamoto, and I think it's not hard to figure out. We are in the quiet before the storm. A new console is coming, and Nintendo is biding their time, keeping the customers hungry. At this point, I'm just talking out my ass, as none of this has been confirmed by Nintendo. But it's fun to speculate, isn't it? Besides, the writing is on the wall for this. Metroid Prime 4 has been teased for a very long time, and I don't think Nintendo would just shadow drop Metroid Prime Remastered just for kicks and giggles. There has to be an underlying motivation. I covered this in another video where I said that I believe Nintendo will also give us Prime 2 and Prime 3 later down the pipeline to catch us up to the events of Prime 4. And this would make sense because, as I know it, this game will be based directly after Prime 3, and it would supposedly tie in the Metroid Prime series to the mainline series. Because for those of you that don't know, the Prime series takes place before the events of the mainline series. It's a prequel of sorts. So that's a lot of bases for this new game to cover, hence why I think it will be a massive, massive game. Not to mention the whole shtick around the lack of Mario content, save but a port of a Wii U game with an additional game mode. As I said before, and I'll say it again, the rest of 2023 is not looking spectacular after Pikmin 4. So if Nintendo didn't have plans to release a new console next year, then why would they leave it so barren? The stars are just lining up for this, and the time is coming soon for a new era of Nintendo gaming. Personally, I think that's what Nintendo is banking on. I don't see why they would just leave the rest of the year just empty. It doesn't make any sense. We have no Mario content. We have no real Metroid content, save but the remastered game, which, again, I said, it's probably going to be a precursor to this new Metroid Prime 4 game. I think this is all breadcrumbs, leading up to a new release of a new Nintendo console. And I think this is a great opportunity for Nintendo to take this highly anticipated game and use it as a launch title for this new console. I mean, the hype around this is electric. Yeah, it would just be an easy win for Nintendo. And I think that's a good note to end this video on. If you guys enjoyed this content, please hit a like. Hit me up in the comments down below what you guys thought. And I will bid you guys adieu. Goodbye.